These thoughts were sent in by Helen Williams. This year, I miss my mom a lot more than usual. She was buried on Mother's Day weekend 36 years ago in 1984. I want to talk to her. I want to ask her questions about the flu of 1918. That epidemic, in many ways, is similar to the COVID-19 which has ravaged the world for the past months. The flu killed her father when Mom was only 13 years old, the eldest of 4 children. Her family had moved during the previous year into Listowel when her parents rented out the farm northwest of the town. Mom had turned 13 in March and started high school in Listowel in September 1918. She was a scholar, always wanted to be a teacher when few girls went to high school. Her parents knew the value of an education. Mom passed that on to her own children. She wanted her 4 children to take typing, something of extreme value, with us needing computer skills in later years. The year Mom started high school, Grandma Louisa was 4 months pregnant with their 5th child. They thought it was an opportune time for Grandpa Will Herbert to travel by train to visit his brother Daniel and sister-in-law Eliza Herbert, who were homesteading near Brandon, Manitoba. It's likely that they were eager to see each other after several years apart. And perhaps, with other relatives already in the West, Will and his family were secretly thinking of also moving to Manitoba or Saskatchewan, which was the land of promise at that time. My grandparents, like many others, did not have a phone. And so around October 12th, 1918, their brother-in-law, Will Love, drove from his farm near Atwood in a horse and buggy to relay the message to my grandma that her husband was gravely ill in the hospital in Brandon, thousands of miles away. For several days, she traveled by train, never knowing what was happening anywhere. She arrived at the Brandon Hospital after Grandpa had already died at the age of 43 years on October 17, 1918. That horrible epidemic, unlike this one, robbed us of the young. Grandpa's body arrived back in Mitchell, Ontario with Grandma on the day he was to arrive home to his family from his original trip. Thankfully, he had made a will with his doctor and nurse as witnesses in the hospital just 4 days before. Mom, the eldest of the family, although only 13, now had to quit high school and travel by train to Stratford Business College every day. The family likely moved to Mitchell the next year to be near family, as I have a book that appears to be a going-away gift given to her by her Sunday school class in Listowel. Mom continued to travel by train from Mitchell to Stratford until she graduated as a 14-year-old the next year. There was a 2-mile or more walk down the hill to the train station. She said when she heard the train whistle at Dublin to the west, she knew she had to run faster. Mom supported her family by raising hens, working in the offices of stores in Mitchell, and also mending with a tiny latchet hook the precious silk stockings of the elite women in town. She never spoke of the impact that the flu of 19 had on her and her family and neighbors. We can only guess. Her mother, my grandma, who died in 1935 before I was born, never showed happiness in later photos. Archives of Manitoba state that by October 22nd, there were 3 deaths in Brandon. My mom's father, Will Herbert, being one of them. There were already 55 cases, mostly people from outside of town. Earlier in the month, soldiers had stopped there on their way from World War I, bringing the flu with them. All social gatherings were banned by October 23rd, and by November 23rd, even food stores were closed. Some additional thoughts on Mother's Day during COVID-19. With the armistice of the First World War on November 11, 1918, large gatherings brought on the second wave of the flu of 1918. There was even more, and that second wave was even more deadly. We pray that this Mother's Day and May 24 weekend of 2020 won't increase the cases of COVID-19 in Canada.